Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we started our discussion related to Docker Compose. Docker Compose is used for multi-container based applications. So when we are developing the applications, there are two types of architectures that people will follow. One is monolith architecture and the second one is microservices architecture. In the monolith architecture, everything will be available in a single application. So single container we need to create. But that is outdated approach. So today, to overcome the problems with the monolith architecture, people are going for microservices architecture. When we go for microservices architecture, multiple APIs will be available in the backend. Every requirement will be developed as a separate API. For every API, one container needs to be created. So as we have multiple APIs, we need to create multiple containers. For front end, one container. For back end, multiple containers will be available, and databases will be available for application. Those databases also will be created as multiple containers. As we need to create multiple containers for our application, it is very difficult to manage creating the containers and destroying the containers manually. To overcome this problem, we are using one tool that is called Docker Compose. Docker Compose is used for managing multiple containers. Basically, when you are dealing with multi-container based application, then we will go for Docker Compose. Using this Docker Compose, we can easily set up and deploy multiple containers easily. How Docker Compose will understand what containers we need, that's where Docker Compose YML file comes into picture. Docker Compose YML file to provide containers information to Docker Compose tool. Okay, so the Docker Compose YML contains the version, Docker Compose version that we need to specify, services, network, and volumes. Version, basically we will give you a version number. Services, here services represents the containers that you want. How many containers you need for your application, that we can specify by using services here. Application container, backend container, like that. So how many containers you want, that information you have to specify here. The next one is network. So as we discussed, network is all about communication. As I am creating multiple containers, those containers should belong to the same network for the communication. So that network information will be available. And the next one, volumes. So by default, Docker containers are stateless containers. So whatever the data that is generated, once we delete the container, we will lose that data also. But I want to make the container as stateful container. That means even if the Docker container is deleted, I should not lose my data. I need to have my data permanently. So to store the Docker container data permanently, we will go for Docker volumes concept. Now by default, the file name will be available as Docker Compose YML. Docker Compose YML will keep in the source code repository. Then after, we are going to install Docker Compose software like this. Okay. So once it is installed, then we can Dockerize our application by using this Git repository. In this Git repository, I have given Docker Compose YML, version, services. Under the services, if you see, application service available, and database service is available, and a network is available. Okay, guys. So I hope you guys are able to Dockerize our Spring Boot application with a MySQL database using these commands. Are you guys able to Dockerize the application? Are you guys able to Dockerize the application using Docker Compose? Is it working? Right. So what are the commands that we have used here? So the commands that we have used here, one is Docker Compose. Docker Compose up command we have used. So what is the purpose of Docker Compose up command? Docker Compose up command is used to create the containers based on the Docker Compose YML. Docker Compose up command is used to create the Docker containers using Docker Compose file. Okay. Now, whenever you execute Docker Compose up in the present working directory, it will check for the Docker Compose YML. If the Docker Compose YML is available, it will create the containers based on the given YML. Suppose if you change that YML name, then you can go for Docker Compose -f file name up. So you can change the file name also. If you change the file name, you need to give that file name as the input for the up command. Okay, guys. Now, if you want to run the containers in the detached mode, then you can go for Docker Compose up-d. So detached mode means the containers will be created. Your terminal will be open to run the other commands, right? Similarly, Docker Compose PS. Docker Compose PS is used to display the list of containers which are created by Docker Compose. And Docker Compose images. What are the images that are used by the Docker Compose? We can see here. And next one, Docker Compose down command. So Docker Compose stop, Docker Compose down will be available. Docker Compose stop means it is just used to stop your Docker containers. But a Docker Compose down means it is going to delete the containers. It is going to delete the containers. Are you guys clear? Now, how we are writing Docker Compose YML file? So as we discussed, Docker Compose YML file, we should be able to write it. So in our scenario, what I have done is, I have taken a Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application code is available. Spring Boot application code available. And MySQL database is available. So this is my backend database. So I'm using MySQL DB. And here I have Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application. This Spring Boot application should connect with the MySQL database to perform the operation. Got it? Now, for the boot application, I'm creating one Docker image by using Docker file, and MySQL database having a public Docker image, right? So now how I am Dockerizing this application, how I am writing Docker file for this. Okay. So as we discussed, the Docker file contains, the Docker Compose file contains version, services, network, and values. Okay, guys. So here, these are the things that we are writing in our Docker Compose file. These are the things that we are writing in the Docker Compose file. Now, version, by default, I'm specifying the version as 3, something like this. Okay, version I'm specifying as 3 like this. Now, let's go for services. So now here, basically, to write this Docker Compose file, if you want the clear clarity, you can use VS Code IDE. In that VS Code IDE, we can write this YML. In the VS Code IDE, we can write this YML. File, new file, new file. Let me take a YML, create new file, YML. Okay. Now let me save that YML, whatever I'm creating here. Let me save this Docker compose.yml. Okay. So first one, we are going to specify as version. Okay. First one, we are going to specify as version. Then after, we are going to specify services. Then after, we are specifying networks. Volumes currently I'm not writing. I'm going for YML file. Okay, guys. I'm going for YML file. First one I'm specifying as version 3, services, networks. Assume that I want to specify the network as Spring Boot -db -net. So this is the network that I want to create for my application. So boot application will run in one container and MySQL database will run in another container. So boot application should be able to connect with the database. For that, both containers should run in the single network. So which network they should use? I'm specifying here under the networks Spring Boot -db net. So whenever this Docker Compose started, it has to create a network with the name Spring Boot -db -net. Right. The next one, coming to services. Services represents how many containers we want for our application. For my application, I want two containers. One is application container, another one is database container. So you can give the name of the container. This is application container and this is MySQL DB container. So like this, I'm specifying application and database. So under the services, you can create multiple containers also. You can give any name here. Now I am giving as application and MySQL DB. So it represents one service, it represents another service. I wanted two services because I wanted two containers. Now, first let me go for MySQL DB. Let me go for MySQL DB. So MySQL database is a open source database. Anybody can use the MySQL database to develop their applications. Now, for the MySQL container, I want one image. So you no need to create the image for the MySQL. It is a public image. MySQL 5.7, it is available. So this is the version. That is the version that is available for MySQL database. MySQL DB image is there. MySQL 5.7. So now I want to create this MySQL database container by using MySQL image. And this container should be created under which network? Already we configured our network, that is Spring Boot -DB-net. Okay, so it should be created there. Now, whenever MySQL database is installed, I need what is the username for the MySQL. What is the username of the MySQL? What is the password of the MySQL? What is the DB name for the MySQL? What is the port number of the MySQL? So by default, username will be root. You no need to change that also. By default, the username will be available as root. By default, the port number will be available as 3306. So these are fixed values. These are predefined. Whenever we install MySQL database in your system, the MySQL database username will be root and the MySQL database port number will be 3306. So those things I already know that. But what about the password? What about the database name? You can give any password that you want. Okay, you can give any password that you want. You can give any database name that you want for your MySQL database. So these are called as environment properties. Username, password, database name, and port number. These are called environment properties. When you install the MySQL database, it will take default username as root. You can set the password what you want. You can set the database name what you want, and the port number will be 3306. Right. Now here, I want to set the environment properties for my MySQL database. I am not installing the MySQL. That MySQL is installing by Docker by using MySQL image. So MySQL DB, this is one container. That container should be created using this image, using this network and environment. In the environment, I will specify MySQL _root password. So what is the password that you want? I want to keep the password as a root. And what is the database that you want to use for this MySQL? MySQL _ database is equal to some database name I am giving, Spring Boot database I am giving. Okay, guys, this password you can give anything, this database name you can give anything. So these are the environment that I am specifying. And the next one, volumes, where you want to store your MySQL database data, right? By default, that MySQL data will be stored under data directory, MySQL directory. So like this, I have specified one container information. MySQL database is one container. The image, MySQL 5.7. So MySQL database should be installed by using this image. This image I have created, or it is a public image, guys. This image I have not installed. This image is a public image. Now, so here I am giving services. Under the services, application is considering as one service, database is considering as one service. MySQL DB is the name of the service, right? This is the name of the service. So this service name I am using to create MySQL database, to install MySQL database. To install the MySQL database, I'm taking the image name and I'm specifying the network. I'm specifying the environment properties and I'm specifying the values. Volume is used for storing the data. All right. So when you are configuring MySQL database like this, our Spring Boot application should know what is the username of the database, what is the password of the database, what is the DB name, and what is the port number. Password I have given as root, DB name I have given as SBMS. Where this MySQL database will run? It will run in the Docker container. What is the name of the container? The container name is MySQL DB. Are you guys able to follow me? So we are deploying MySQL database by using Docker, right? So it will run in the Docker container. So this MySQL database is having some properties. What is the username of this database? What is the password of this database? What is the database name? And what is the port number? First of all, what is the name of this container? This container name I am giving as MySQL DB. This is the container name. This is the most important now. This is the name of the container, and these are environmental properties of the MySQL database. So this will run in one container. Spring Boot application will run in one container. One container means one virtual machine. So boot application running in one container, database will run in the another container. How this boot application will connect with this database container? That's where in the Spring Boot application, there will be a properties file. If you go to the project SRC main resources, there is one file called application.yml. So application.properties or application.yml file will be available. If you see here, we are configuring data source. We are configuring the data source. So this Spring Boot application should connect with which database? This Spring Boot application should connect with the MySQL database that we are creating by using Docker Compose. What are the properties of the MySQL database? Here we are configuring. So here this is the JDBC driver. Java people will configure this URL. In the URL, JDBC MySQL DB 3306/SBMS. What is this MySQL DB? That is the name we are giving for our container. So the container name we are specifying in the database URL. 3306 is the port number and the SBMS is the database name. Username by default root. Password we are configuring as root in the file. So I'm telling to this Docker Compose, install the MySQL database. For that database, use this name as a container name. And this is the password. This is the name of the database. Username will be root by default. Password will be password I am setting. Database name I am setting. Port number default 3306. So this is the link between our Spring Boot application and the database. In the Spring Boot application, in the resources folder, application.yml file or application.properties file will be available. In that properties file or YML file, we need to configure DB container information, the driver class. With this application want to connect with the MySQL database. For MySQL database, MySQL driver class is available. This application want to connect with the MySQL database. What is the database name? MySQL DB. What is the port number? 3306. What is the database name? SBMS. So DB name I am specifying. This container name I am specifying. Actually, this represents the location of the database. My database is running in the MySQL DB container. The container name I am specifying. This is the database name. Username is root. Password is root. Password I have specified in my Docker Compose YML. So I'm telling to Docker Compose, you create the MySQL database using this image under this network. Set the password like this. Set the database name like this. Store the data into this location. Give the container name like this. Are you able to understand how we are configuring database container in the Docker Compose? Are you able to understand how we are configuring database container in the Docker Compose? Come on, guys. Come on. Are you able to understand how I am configuring database details? And you understand where is the link between the application and the database? How this application connecting to this database? Where is the link available? In the application, there is a file called application.yml file is available. So this is used to configure the properties in the application. In this application.yml, we have configured our data source properties. Okay, guys, this application.yml file in the project will contain data source properties. Okay, so here in the Docker Compose, whatever the name you are giving for the container, same name you need to give in the URL also. So if you give some name here and if you change the container name, then your application cannot connect to the database. Your application cannot connect to the database. So username by default will take for MySQL database, default username is root, default port number 3306. I no need to specify that. So that's why I'm specifying only password and database name. This is a container name. This is a DB name. So where is the link between our application and the database? The link between the application and database is available in the application.yml file. The link between the application and the database is available in the application.yml file. Are you clear? Now, how to configure application container? So to configure the application container, we need to specify image. We are creating the image for the application. Yesterday, we created the image and with a name called Spring Boot MySQL application. So that means we are building our Docker image for the application by using Docker file. Only for application, we are creating the image. For MySQL, predefined image is available, guys. So here I have a Docker file. So this Docker file I am using to build the Docker image for the application. So when I build the image for the application, I will give some name for the image. So this is the image name I am giving. That means using this image, application container should be created. Using this image, application container should be created. So this application is a Spring Boot application. It will run on the port number 8080. Now I want to map that to the host port. So 8080:8080. So this is the container port and this is the host port, right? So I am specifying that I'm specifying to Docker Compose. Hey, Docker Compose, you create my application by you create the container for the application using this Docker image. This Docker image belongs to Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application will use Apache Tomcat as an embedded container. Apache Tomcat will run on the port number 8080. You map that port to 8080 on the host machine. And this application container should run on the same network where my database is running. So what is that network? Spring Boot -db-net. So database is running on the same network. Application also will run on the same network so that they can connect. Now here, when my application is starting, database should be ready. First, database container should be created so that my application can be started. So now here I'm going to specify depends on. So this is depends on MySQL DB container. Depends on MySQL DB. I'm specifying. So when the Docker Compose is going to start application container, I'm telling application depends on the database. So that means you first create the database container, then you create the application container. Okay, guys. So application data I want to store. That's where we will go for values. I can give a different value /data/Spring Boot _app, something like this. Spring Boot app. So database data will be stored into MySQL directory. Application data will be stored into Spring Boot app directory. So like this, I have two services. This is service 1 and this is service 2. and this is the network I want to create. And so whenever we write this Docker compose file, we can execute Docker compose up command. So that is what we have done yesterday, right? So first we have cloned our Git repository. So in this Git repository, if you see, Docker file is available and Docker compose file is also available. Docker file is used to create the Docker image. Docker compose file is used to create the Docker containers. Okay. So first I have cloned my Git repository. Then I navigated to that project directory by using cd command. I need to package my application. For that, I'm going for MVN clean package. I'm going for MVN clean package so that my project will be packaged and jar file will be created. Once it is done, I am creating the Docker image. This is the name I am giving for the image. Docker build-t, I have given the image name. The next one, Docker images command. So Docker images command to check whether our image is created or not. Then Docker compose up command -d. So Docker compose up, it is used to create the Docker containers based on the Docker compose YML. What is there in the Docker compose YML? Application container information is available. Database container information is available. And here I specified my application is depending on the database container. So here Docker compose will create the database container first. The database container information will be mapped in the application.yml. So what name we need to use for the container, we need to decide and we need to configure in the YML file of the project. Same name we need to configure in the Docker compose also. So if your container name is matching with the URL in the application and both are running on the same network, they will connect. Application will connect with the database. Okay. Now, once you have done Docker compose up -d, you can see what are the containers are running. For that, you can go for Docker compose ps command. What is the purpose of Docker compose ps command? It is used to display list of containers which are running here. It is used to display which list of containers which are running here. Are you guys able to understand Docker compose YML? Docker compose YML is used to specify what containers we need to create and which container is dependent on the which container. This is the Docker compose YML. When we are writing the Docker compose YML, indent spaces are very important. See here, inside the application, I'm writing the image. If I write the image here, that will become invalid. Inside the application, image should be available. Okay. The spacing is very important. Suppose if I remove the space and if I write like this, that file will become invalid. So you need to write that with the proper alignment. So this in the YML, the indent spaces are very important. You see application and MySQL DB, the container names are starting in the same line. So inside the application image, inside the DB image, here port, network depends on value. So these are in the one line. Application and MySQL DB in the one line. Services and networks in the one line. So the lines are clearly showing here. The indent spacing is very important when we are writing the YML file. Okay. So this is our Docker compose YML. Got it? Now, do you understand how we are writing the Docker compose file and how application is connected to the database? Yes. So where this properties file will be available? In the src directory, main resources will be available. Under the resources, this YML file will be available. In this YML file, data source configuration will be available. So developers will create this file. Developer will configure these properties. Okay. In the project directory, src main resources, under the resources application YML. Inside that YML data source properties available, we will configure them in the key value pair. This is all the key value pair. This is also a YML file. So whatever the name we are giving, container name, that we have to specify. What is the port number? MySQL database default port 3306. This is the database name. This is the username, and this is the password. Are you clear? Yeah. Anybody having any questions, you can ask me now.
Ashok, application.yml name would be the same, or it can be
no sir, this is a Spring Boot predefined file name. This file this file will be used by Spring Boot. Our project is developed by using Spring Boot. To configure any properties in the Spring Boot, that file should be either application.properties or application.yml. You cannot change that.
Okay, thank you.
Ashok, that data
to enter the port, sir. Like you have...
Guys, please raise your hand one by one. So if all of you ask at a time, I can't answer that. Yeah, please raise your hand. Yeah, Pradeep, what's your question?
Sir, for database container, we don't have to mention the port, sir.
We don't need to specify the port because the database we don't access outside, right? That by default that will use 3306 as the port number. Why I'm here for application also, port number why we are specifying is if you don't map the host port to the container port, you can't access the application outside. So that's why I'm doing the port mapping for the application, because application we should access. Database we will access outside, or database should be accessed by only our application. Database should be accessed by only our application, so port mapping is not required for that.
Sir, and in case we want to preload the schema, database schema, before even while installing the application, installing the MySQL, can we do that, sir?
So preloading the schema here, we can't do that, sir, with this compose YML. Once the Docker compose created the containers, now then you can log into the database and you can import the schemas. I will show you how to connect to the database from the CLI. So here, MySQL DB container will be created. In the last session, I have shown you how can we get into the container by using exec command, right? So similarly, once MySQL database container is created, we can go inside the container by using docker exec-it container name /bin/bash. We can see what are the databases created, what are the tables created. We can do the troubleshooting on that part.
Okay. And this volumes, it is part of AWS, sir. It will create the volume.
No. These are the Docker volumes only. Next topic is Docker volumes only. We will understand what is volume. It is not AWS volume. It is pure Docker volume. Okay. AWS volumes are different. Docker volumes are different. I will explain Docker volume.
Do we have for reference any attributes like database has specific properties? When deploying, creating container for application, we have specific properties. Like there is a format for everything, right?
Right. These are the things, right? Whenever you are creating application, what are the ports you want to use? What are the image you want to use? What are the networks you want to use? What are the volumes you want to use? These are the properties. When you are creating the database, these are the properties.
Okay, sir.
These are common for every application when we are going with Docker Compose.
Okay, sir.
Yep. Good. Hardik, unmute your mic. What's your question?
Sir, I just wanted to know when we access our application, the data will be stored in the DB, right?
Correct.
And once the means what we can say, once anyone has come out of the container will get deleted, right?
Correct.
So how will the whole containers data will of database will be retrieved?
That's where volumes we are going to use. That is the next topic.
Okay.
By default, Docker containers are stateless. When you delete your container, whatever the database that you created, right? Database will be deleted. Database data also will be deleted. Right. I don't want to lose my data. I want, even if my container is deleted, my data should be available. That's where we are going to make containers as a stateful container by using volume. That is next concept.
Okay.
Yeah. Vanita, what is your question?
Now we are creating database dot YML file, right? Whatever you have just shown us, correct?
Yes, yes.
So, like in the already you have a repository where you have a .yml file in the resources. Will this be created automatically while we are building a Maven project, or?
No. Listen. So developers will create the Spring Boot application, right? When the developer create the boot application, brand new project, when they create, by default, this file will be created. So this will not be created by the Maven. This will be created as part of the project creation.
So we have to take this as a resource and we have to create our database .yml file.
Right. Suppose whatever the Docker compose file that you are writing, whatever the name that you are writing here, same name you need to configure here.
Okay. So can we change it?
Yes, you can. You can give any name for that. So here, if I am giving the name as just DB, then you need to give the name here as a DB. Container name should match that.
Okay.
As I have given the name here as MySQL DB, in the YML file also in the URL, you should give this as the same name. Then only application container can identify the DB container with this name. Here, if you give some name, and in the compose file, if you give some name, then application cannot connect to the database. It will fail.
Okay.
I will show you that failure and how to troubleshoot that problems also I will explain.
Okay. And Ashok, we are trying to what are the GitHub that you are giving, like GitHub repository?
Yeah.
We are trying to push that particular files into our repositories. We are unable to do it. We have to download them into our system and then we are able to do it. But directly we are unable to push it through the Linux.
I did not get your question.
So you are giving us a .git files, right?
You cannot push to my repository because you don't have a permission for that.
Okay, so we can only access them, but not we can push them.
No, this is my public repository. Yeah. You can clone my repository. You can take my code, but you can't change my code because you don't have permission for my repository.
No, I'm trying to push it into my repository. I can't even do that.
You can do that. What you need to do is after cloning, you need to delete the .git folder, which is available in this, and you need to execute again git init command, then push it to your repository.
Okay, so without deleting .git, I cannot do that.
No, yes, because in the .git, my repository URL will be available.
Achha. Okay, thanks. I'll try it.
Right. Yeah, Satya Gopal, what's your question?
Sir, in the application.yaml file, in the URL, you mentioned that SQL container name. Sir. Here, correct. Can we use the host name instead of container name? And can we...
Host name is, no, you can't use the host name because the containers are separate machines, right? You can't specify the host name. You need to specify only container name.
Container name. Okay.
Yes.
Sir, second question is that does it create a new database or can we use the existing database also to run in the container?
No, it will create a new database because you are giving the image, right? So the data you can map it by using value. Whatever the old data is available, that old data we can load into the database, but database will be new database. New container will be created.
Okay, sir.
Right. Yeah. Sai Vivek, what is your question?
Ashok, when the database comes up, there is a replication like that process. Will we give that the replication part in this YAML file, or we need to log into the container and we need to go there and need to?
Yeah, we need to go to the container and we need to manage that.
Okay, then. So here you are showing me as a initial step. So once the everything has been done and the sprint has been going on, and after 15 days, the future there is a new features for the application like .api files like that part. So in that we can reinitiate this YAML file, or is there any step to do?
Compose YAML.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can stop the containers and we will restart the containers by using that. When we are restarting the containers, it will pull the latest image. Your latest code will be there in the latest image. You will create the latest image for that. Same image, latest image you will configure and you will re-execute this compose YAML.
So in every new changes, we need to drop the Docker image and we need to create the new
Yes.
image. Yes. Okay. And
Correct.
coming up with the real time, we are no need to going for prune the Docker image, no?
No, we don't need to do that. We will stop it and we will restart. We will, I mean, if you want, you can delete the old image and you can recreate the new image.
Only that when the
Once-
sprint has been
Yes,
done.
yes. When you want to deploy the latest code, then only we will do that.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Yeah. Fine. Next one, Sanju. What is your question? Hello, Mr. Sanju.
Sir, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello. Yeah, sir. That MySQL DB in your compose file, is that a yes,
You
this
can give any
MySQL
name
DB.
here.
Is this a keyword? Oh,
No,
okay.
no. This is user
Got it.
defined name. This just I'm giving my own name here.
Oh, okay.
Here I can keep like this also.
And another
App, and here I can keep it as DB. So this is just a name that I'm
Okay.
assigning for the container, application container. This is the name that I'm assigning for the DB container. Whatever the name you give
Got
for
it.
the DB container, same name you need to configure in the application.yml file. Then only application container can connect with the database container.
And this way, if you have two database, you can have one or two in the
Yes,
same
you can write one more container.
compose, right?
One
Okay.
multiple databases.
Okay, okay. So second question, sir, actually we have done so many things so quickly. I'm not able to understand the difference between this Docker PS image command and the Docker compose PS and image command. When to use what?
Both are same, sir. So whatever the containers that are running, by using Docker compose also you can see that. By using Docker PS also you can see that.
Oh, so they're showing different results. I don't know what's maybe.
So whenever you go for Docker compose PS, it will display what all the containers created by Docker compose software.
Right.
Whenever you execute the Docker compose up, what is happening? It will create the containers. It will create the containers. Which containers created by this Docker compose tool, those containers will be displayed by using compose PS.
Okay.
Got it.
And same thing with the images, Docker compose image and Docker image.
Right.
Okay.
Same.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Srini, what is your question?
Yeah, whatever we are creating, we are mentioning the apps and database in the this Docker compose file, where those containers are going to create.
In the Docker machine, right? In which machine we are executing that compose up? We have installed one. We have taken one Linux machine. In that we installed Docker. In that we installed Docker compose. In which machine you will run the Docker compose up? In that machine, the Docker containers will be created. That is basically called as our host machine.
Host machine they are going to create.
Correct.
Okay, if the number of apps and DBs are there, whatever is there any we need to specify in the specific
no,
host?
Here I specified one application and one database. Suppose if you want two applications and two databases, same way you can configure app1 db1, app2 db2. Like that 4 you can specify, then 4 containers will be created.
Yes, you are right. Suppose we want to in a particular host, we can configure.
What is the meaning of particular host?
Suppose right now we have the two one application and one database. Suppose I have another set of data application and the database. Can we create the different host?
No, not different host. Whatever the Docker compose file you are writing, in which machine you execute this compose file, in that machine these services will be created. In which machine you will run the compose command, in that machine the containers will be created, not on the other machine. Got it?
Yeah.
So here we have taken a Docker machine. This is my host machine. In that I install the Docker engine and I install the Docker compose. When I execute a Docker compose up command, how many services you configured in the compose YML, those many containers will be created on the same machine, not on the other machine. Where you execute the Docker compose YML, in that machine Docker containers will be created based on the Docker compose YML. You got it? Yeah. Next one. Mahindra Gopshetty. Hello, Mahindra. What is your doubt?
Yes, sir. In those container, every container is like one mission only. We will treat,
Correct.
right?
Yes,
Like,
every container, every container that is creating by the Docker, it is like a machine.
Okay, and one more thing, sir. These environment properties, if you want to read from somewhere any property file, how we will read?
Yeah, in the Kubernetes, directly, it is not recommended to configure username and passwords like this in the YML file. This is not a best practice. In the Kubernetes, there is a concept called config map and secrets. By using them, we are going to manage the credentials which are required for our application. This is not the best practice.
Not in YAML files, sir. In Docker Compose files, you have given username for database.
No, sir. No. We have to specify here.
And if you want to access like any networks, we have given Spring Boot DBNet, right? If you want to access that name, we need to access like Spring Boot DBNet, like line number 8.
Line number 8. Yeah, this is the database. This is the network name that which is created by the Compose. So here, this is the name I configured. This network will be created. That network I'm specifying. If you want to keep any other network also, you can give that network name.
Okay, one more thing, sir. For example, I have done some code changes. I want to deploy the Spring Boot Docker image. I have generated again Docker image. I need to deploy container.
Okay.
So in that case, this MySQL database will be keep it in up, or we need to make it up?
Whenever you execute the Docker Compose YML, it will check the Docker MySQL container is already running or not. If it is already running, nothing will happen to the MySQL. When you change the image, only application container will be recreated. Nothing will happen to the MySQL database when you re-execute the file. Because the container is already up and running, there are no changes to the image. When there is a change in the image, then container will be recreated. In your scenario, your containers are already running. After some time, you made the code changes and you modified your image. Whenever you re-execute this file, only application container will be recreated. Database container will remain same.
Yeah.
Got it?
Got it.
Correct. Raju, what is your question? Raju, Kishore.
Good morning, sir. Actually, my doubt is that this properties file will be there in the code, sir. Otherwise, we need to create a new file and write the
No. This file will be available in the project itself. Developers only will create that file. When the developers create, yes, you just need to modify and change the values which are required. That's it. The file will be created as part of the project. When the developer create the project, along with the project creation, this YML file also will be created. They will write these properties here. Whatever the driver class name, URL, username, password, these keys are fixed keys as per the Java convention, as per the Spring Boot convention. You just need to modify the values which are required. That's it. Okay. As an operational engineer, you just need to modify the values and when you are building the Docker image.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Gnanendra, what's your question?
Yeah. As you said, in application.yml, keys are fixed.
Right.
What about in Docker Compose.yml? There is environment.
These are also fixed. These are also fixed keywords.
Okay, these are fixed.
Yeah, whatever we are writing, these all are the fixed keywords. Whatever is displaying in the blue color, right? I mean, sky blue color, those all are fixed.
Okay. Yeah, one more. In the URL, in the MySQL URL, in the application.yaml file, we used to provide the MySQL DB as the host name. Earlier, we understand. But here we are giving you name that MySQL DB as a container name, MySQL container name.
Correct.
How it's mapping to the host name to the container name?
So be here, whenever our applications are running, the Spring Boot application will run in the host machine as one container. Database also will run as one container. When the two containers are running on the same network, they can connect with the net container name. So now these two containers are running on the same network, right? Network is same. That is used for the mapping.
But okay, but it is having its own host name. So there will be again conflict, right?
No. Both are on the same host, right? Host is same. The machine is same. In that machine, two containers.
Container name is the MySQL DB, but the host name will be different, right?
It is not going to check with the host name. It is going to check with that. So whenever this container is trying to access this container, they are in the same network. Whatever the name that I'm giving for the another container, it will check within that network, is there any container with the same name? If it is available, it will connect. Because of the network, we are able to achieve that communication.
So network, it plays a role here. Okay.
Yes, based on the network, it will check with that name, is there any container available in this machine?
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah, Jay Chandra and Anshuman, what's your question?
Hello, Ashok. I have a general question. I have a DevOps engineer. Do we need to write this compose file, or developer will write it?
It depends on, sir. In some projects, developers will write. In some projects,
Okay.
DevOps engineers will have. Project specific, I can.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
In my project, we are writing as a developer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Shivaram, your question?
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Yes, Shivaram, you can. Yeah, I'm making you co-host. You can share your screen. Yes, you can share it now.
Yes, I got this error yesterday.
Does not exist or may require Docker login requested access to the resource denied. Which command you executed?
Docker compose up.
The image for the service you're trying to recreate has been removed. If you continue, volume data could be lost. Consider backing up your. Can you show Docker images? Images.
Yes.
Spring Boot, MySQL, Docker Compose image is available. 20 hours ago you created. Now, can you open your Docker Compose YML?
Yes.
Open that file, vi Docker Compose YML.
Okay.
Use the vi command to edit that file. Vi. Vi space file name.
Yes.
This is a problem, right? So if you see, what is the name you are, what is the image name available there? Application image name.
Spring Boot MySQL app.
Yeah. Now close this file. Escape Q. Escape : WQ. Press escape : WQ. Yeah. WQ. Yes.
Yes.
What is the image name you created? Can you check your image name?
Okay.
You understand the problem?
Yes.
Your image name is Spring Boot MySQL Docker-Compose. In the YML, I have given the image name as Spring Boot MySQL app.
Okay.
So you have created image with different name. In the YML, Compose YML, the image name is different. That's why it is not able to read that image.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Abhishek and Sandeep and Mallikarjun, Yogesh, your questions?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Ashok. Abhishek here.
Yeah, hi.
So basically, when you are creating a Docker Compose YAML file, you are
Yes.
specifying, for suppose we have multiple networks where multiple images where we have to create, right? Like in networks, for suppose in a service, in application, you are creating a network, and in a database, you are creating a network.
No.
You're specifying
I'm
network,
not
right?
creating the network there. I'm
you're
specifying the
specifying.
network name. Yeah. Network
Yes.
creation will happen only once. At the bottom, I have given the name of the network.
Okay.
So that
Let's just say,
network name I am configuring there.
okay, let's just say like just say there is a YAML file which is having like more than 500 to 600 of code like lines where we have to specify network multiple times. So is there anything where we can specify network once and use it again and again?
Yeah, you can create the normal network, right? So we have seen Docker network create command. So once you
Correct.
create the network, same network you can use there.
Can't we use just like how we use it in variables in Java language or other language?
No.
Okay, so we have to specify the complete name as network : and
Correct.
the network
Correct.
name.
Yes.
Every.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and one more question is, like when we compare repositories, when we compare Docker repositories and GitHub repositories, when we commit the repositories or push the repositories in Git, that will be creating a separate commit value, right, in Git repository.
Correct.
So, is there anything like that in the containers as well? So where we can come back and revert to the previous
No.
container sessions or something
No,
like that?
you can't do that. In the Docker, you can't do that. When you go for Kubernetes, we can do that.
Okay. Because
in the Docker, that is not possible.
Okay, there is no
Mechanism
revert
like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, thanks.
Right. And guys, one more thing. So it's been long. I did not change the Zoom link for this. So now I have updated the Zoom link. Could you please log in into the portal, and all of you, can you check? Are you able to access the new Zoom link for the tomorrow's class? All of you who have the access for the course, could you please log in into the portal and confirm? Are you able to access the new Zoom link? When you log in into the website, ashokitech.com, you can see my courses. In that, you will see for DevOps people, DevOps course will be there. For the Docker people, Docker Kubernetes will be available. If you click on the join class, it should redirect you to the new Zoom link to attend the class from tomorrow. Could you please log in and refresh your page and check it and confirm? Prashant, are you able to see that? Yeah. So please check it now. If anybody don't have the access, please contact admin team. Otherwise, you will miss the tomorrow session. Tomorrow, we are going to see the troubleshooting with this Docker container. Suppose if I don't give the correct container name for the database in the YML file, then how errors will come, what are the problems we are going to face, and how to troubleshoot those problems, that I will explain. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashok.
Yes, sir. Yeah, guys. So can you unmute your mic?
Hello. Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah. Hi, sir.
Hello. So the link is working. The other link is you asked to check is working.
Yeah.
Yes,
good.
sir.
Good.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Sir, can you please open your Visual Studio once?
Yes. Yeah. This is my Visual Studio.
Yeah, on the top side, please go there. Yeah, we are mentioning version here. So I'm joining late, so I don't know about what is the versioning.
Yeah, sir. This is just a Docker Compose version that we are going to specify.
So we can mention any like version 4 or like that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, fine. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Ashok.
Yes.
I have one quick question regarding that. We are mention that the volume equal to colon / data. So this one is the mounted external file, right?
Yes, sir. So tomorrow you will understand the volumes concept. There are bind mounts volumes available, Docker volumes available, bind mounts will be available. Tomorrow you will get more clarity on that volume part.
Okay.
Sir, in a Docker Compose file, under environment, username and password are there, right? In the application.yaml also, we have username and password, but the key names are different. How we are going to map those?
These environment properties, whatever they are, they should be used while creating the database container. Docker Compose should give this data to the MySQL database while installing the MySQL software. So in the Java, the YML file, whatever we have, that is specific to Java. So these Java keys will be different and Docker Compose keys will be different. Okay.
Yeah,
these are the Java specific keys. And
what
these
if
are the MySQL specific keys.
Sir, what if the username is not root? I mean, we are maintaining different username.
If you want to set the different username, right? So MySQL root username, you can specify that as an environment property. Suppose you don't want to go with the root, then you specify MySQL root username is equal to whatever you want, you can specify like this.
Okay, sir.
Port number also you can specify. But generally, username will be available as root, password we will customize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi,
sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I have paid for the microservices pattern. I'm planning to join to the Spring Boot microservices process. Can you deactivate for that microservice pattern? Because of these videos are available in the app only.
Yeah, Yogesh, I will call you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yogesh, I got your complaint. I understand. So today we'll talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, sir.
So actually, you have 4 keywords in YML file you have used, right? First one is the services, version, networks, and volumes.
Yep.
So inside the services, we can clarify the container name, right?
Right.
And where you use the versions?
No, version we are just specifying here. We use that, sir. Here, basically, this is the important for us. What are the services that we are configuring?
Okay, so version is not mandatory.
Yeah, right. We don't use that. Just we need to specify that.
And another question I have, I could not clone your Git repository in our local system.
You can clone. You can clone by using Git to clone my URL. You can clone it because it is public. Everybody else already cloned it.
Okay, it was working properly when you're teaching a Git, but
yes,
as of now it's not working. So
it will work, man. It will work. You just execute this command because people are able to clone my repository. This is public repository URL only.
I think Vanita asked the same question, so that's why I'm
No. Vanita is trying to commit to my repository. That is not possible. She is able to clone it. You can also clone. You just install the Git client in your Linux. You execute this command. You will clone. You can clone.
What error is it
Can I? Yeah,
what
can
error
I
are you
say?
getting?
Yeah, you can share your screen and show me. What's your name?
Munna.
Munna. Yeah, you can share your screen and show me.
Sir, meanwhile, I'm asking that nowadays we are using microservices, right? With respect to without using monolithic, that is outdated. Correct. So, sir, we have different applications. So, do we need to write the compose file? Means under the services, we need to mention all the applications, right?
All the containers details which you need, you have to specify. Yes.
So, sir, with the help of Kubernetes, can we get rid of Docker Compose, or we need to?
Yes. When we go for Kubernetes, it is not required.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, Munna Kumar, can you clone it?
Just I opening your.
Sir, you said application services, that index name should be, key name should be the same in application.yaml file and the compose file, right?
Correct.
I mean, whatever the structure we are following in the application.yaml, it should be the same in compose.file also, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, if we install
Munna Kumar, I will talk to you separately, man.
Yes, sir. I'm working on it, sir. Just a moment.
No. I need to talk to you separately. I send you a message for you in the chat. You can see that. I will call you separately.
Sir, Sir Sandeep, this side. Every time we have done some changes on the container, we need to take the downtime of the application in production environment.
If you have only Docker, then you need to take care of downtime. When you have downtime, that means when you are going for only Docker, you will have a downtime. When you go for Kubernetes, you will not have that downtime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sir, if we install software update versions, so do we need to create image again?
Sorry, can you come again?
If we need to install softwares, I mean new versions, so do we need to create image again?
Yeah. Yes, we need that. No?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, if our project contain multiple database, so we need to configure one by one in that YAML?
Yes, we need to configure, and you need to give a different name for each DB container. Suppose you have hotel DB, and flight DB, cab DB, train DB, like that. You need to give the different container names for that.
Okay.
Ashok, if it is not the SQL database, some other database like Oracle, the properties or tags will be the same, or will there be any
Tags are
change?
same, only image name is going to be different.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Ashok.
Hi, Ashok.
Hello.
And that
Ashok, one
volume,
question.
Sorry?
that volumes that we create in that
Yes,
Docker.
Jaya, tomorrow you will get to know about the volumes clearly. Okay.
Sir, how to access particular database?
Sorry?
How to access particular database from many data if you have many databases?
But based on the, tomorrow I will show you how to troubleshoot the database, how to get into the database.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Ashok, sir, one question. Let's say we have created an image for a particular code base, and I have updated the code base and I have recreated the image with the same name. Does the Docker Compose looks for the, how does the Docker Compose know that it has to update, that it has
So
to create the
whenever
container?
you run the Docker Compose, it will try to pull the Docker image. If any latest changes are there in the image, it will recreate the container. If there are no changes in the image, it will skip that.
So does it look for the image name every time, or only at the start?
It will look for the image name every time.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Sir, I have created one Spring Boot application.
Yes.
A Spring Boot 3.0.
Yep.
But when we are going to Maven clean build, so it's showing some version compatible issue.
Yes, sir. Spring Boot 3.0 requires Java 17 version. So better to create with the Spring Boot 2.7 version. Boot 3.0 requires Java 17 minimum.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Okay, thanks, sir.
Hi, Ashok.
Hello, sir.
Ashok, for tomorrow's session, like where you can get the URL for Zoom link?
Yeah, we updated in the portal, sir. Did you complete enrollment?
Yeah. I'm listening all the videos.
You log into our website, sir. ashokitech.com. That is the website URL.
Okay.
If you log into that website, you can see my courses.
Okay.
So I gave the link in the chat. You log into that URL. Then you can see my courses, Docker Kubernetes. If you share your screen, I will guide you.
Yeah, sure. One second. Let me share.
Yeah, share your screen. Guys, all of you observe the people who have doubts about the tomorrow's class joining. Yeah, can you go to dashboard?
Okay.
Yeah, here you have option join class option. Can you click on the join class? Yeah. It will redirect you to the new Zoom link. Click on open Zoom meeting. Yeah, tomorrow you need to do the same thing.
Okay.
That is a new meeting link.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ashok, but for me it is showing meeting is already in progress.
You need to refresh that, madam. Refresh your web page.
So it can't ask any password, right?
No, it won't do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, fine, guys. Good.
Ashok, sir, question, sir.
Yeah, please.
If I assume correctly, this Kubernetes and Docker course is a part of a bigger course, which is like DevOps by AWS. Is it correct?
Correct.
How much you have covered apart from this Docker and Kubernetes before?
I covered.
I mean,
Git, I covered Git, Maven, Sonar, and Nexus and Tomcat.
Oh, okay. So if I pay the difference, I will be able to become a part of the parent course later on. Okay.
Correct. Yes,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, one last question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we had while creating a Docker Compose file, we had the Spring Boot application. Let's say tomorrow we have some changes in the Java code, some dot class we create and we create a new build file. How do we use Docker Compose to push it to all the composites, sir? Okay, will it update?
Can you please come again, Pradeep?
Sir, let's say there is some change in our source code, in our Spring Boot app application, and we want to use, we want to deploy it across all the containers using Docker Compose. How do we update it, sir?
You have some code change in the Spring Boot application. You want to deploy that latest code in the container.
Yes.
You need to stop your existing containers and you need to re-execute the Docker Compose file.
Okay, it will automatically update. It will not treat it as a new.
No.
Okay, so same network, the same configuration, it will just push
Yes, it will take that. Correct.
But Ashok, in that case, we should, do we need to really stop the container?
You no need to. If you stop it, then it will be a downtime for your application. Without stopping also you can do. Whenever the container is recreating, that fraction of seconds downtime will be available. That downtime we can override by using blue-green deployment in the Kubernetes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there is also a concept of rolling deployment. I heard,
Yeah. So in the Kubernetes we will discuss. Next Monday we'll start the Kubernetes.
Okay. In that there is no downtime, I guess.
Right. Without downtime we can deploy.
Okay. Thank you.
Fine, guys. Thank you. We had great doubt session today. Zoom link is updated in the portal. For DevOps people, you have the DevOps course. You can click on the join class with the DevOps. The people who are belongs to 10 DevOps batch. For Docker Kubernetes people, Docker Kubernetes image having join class button. Tomorrow class will be there on the new Zoom link.